If you look around my office, you might realize I have kind of a love for dark, twisted cartoons. And a lot of that may be because I grew up with a lot of dark, twisted cartoons. Now, I'm not talking about the ones like Batman or ones that were meant for older kids. I'm talking about the ones that were meant for little kids, and they probably should have been made for little kids. And I loved the hell out of them. I enjoyed how much they scared me. I loved how every time you got through one, you felt a little tougher. So I'm doing a series reacting and reviewing them. We're gonna analyze how creative they are, how dark they are, and if the dark, twisted tone was warranted. So join me in taking a look at some dark tunes. Boy, at the time between this and Prince of Egypt, kids love to be traumatized by animated plagues. King Ramses Curse was released in 2000. A ton of you have requested it, so I'm gonna take a look. Here we go. There's kind of a fake out here I like. You see a car drive and then you see what looks like a UFO, but then you hear the helicopter sound under it. I like that. It kind of keeps you alert. You don't exactly know what you're gonna get.
Faster! Drive faster!
I like the fact that not only are the cat burglars literally cats, but the one on the right has kind of an Egyptian look to his eyes. It doesn't tie into much, but it's a nice touch. The cats in this show are so weirdly designed too. I think because they're usually the villains, so they're drawn a little bit more menacing. Courage has much more softer, rounded features where the cats are very sharp, very pointy, not made curves at all. Just an extra layer of threat.
What are you doing?
You're right. We got to hide the thing.
Really nice transition. You cut from the door opening, taking up the entire screen, to the trunk opening. And what's nice is it happens so quickly you might not even notice it. The lighting as well here. You could just have something glow from the trunk, but the fact that they have the light behind them just seems to keep going into the horizon with their shadows as well. I mean, that's such a little detail, but again, in a show like this, those details add up. It really creates a nice atmosphere. The texture changing on the ground is also a really nice touch because the backgrounds usually have kind of that sandpapery feel. So if they wanted, they could just draw the road moving and the horizon staying the same, but instead they change the texture constantly so it feels a little bit more alive. And they probably repeat the same maybe 3 textures over and over. Even though it's designed very flat, something as simple as that adds a lot more 3-dimension.
Return this land, or suffer my curse.
Really nice creepy voice. And what I like about this is when you think King Ramesses and pyramids, Egypt and all that stuff, you're thinking of a big, booming, commanding voice, but instead it's very whispery, like a campfire story or something. So I like they kind of play with your expectations a little bit. The fact that this voice never alters, it always stays that same kind of flat tone, I think really adds to the scariness, but also adds to the comedy, as you'll see later on here. Probably my favorite shot. So you see the locust come down to the car and it pans over, and that would be enough. They want to pan away, not show what happens, leave it to your imagination. But you see the house, obviously showing that Courage and his owners are going to be next. But it holds on it for a little bit, longer than a shot like this should, and then it pans back, and you see the car is gone. So you've done 3 things in just a couple of seconds. You pan away, letting the imagination fill in what happened to the car. You show what's gonna happen next, and then you pan back, showing the car is completely gone. So can't quite put together what happens. You just know whatever happened, it totally took that car, and they're gone. And I think one of the reasons people find this episode so scary, a lot of it I think is the music. This does not have urgent, fast, big, loud, even bouncy music like some other episodes. It's just this drone. It's just sort of this long, drawn-out sound. Something like that, especially in a kid show, I think can really get under your skin. Good build up to the monster in this too, because first you see the shadow and you hear the voice, then you see a drawing of what he looks like, and when I first saw this I thought, well, okay, that's it, and now I know what he looks like, but of course they reveal later it's quite different. And then you also question what's on the side there. You know, the locust, but what are the other 2 going to be? It just draws you in immediately.
Stupid dog, always bringing garbage into the house.
Having not seen a ton of this show, what I really pick up in this one compared to the Freaky Fred episode is that there's a lot more shadow work even during the day in this. Everything kind of looks like it's in a permanent iris, which very much has a feel of like old silent films. There's sort of an entrapment element to that, and it's something as easy as just putting a little black circle around it, or even having the characters shaded a little bit more. I always wonder how many times they had to record something that the voice actor did Courage did once as a human and once as a dog, because you could read "aroo" and do it like a dog, "aroo," but in that he just says it like a person, "aroo." Always something I always kind of wonder, do they do it both ways? Do they do it once as a dog and once as a person?
You start running that ad right away.
And like as soon as he hangs up the phone to put the ad in the paper, not only is the ad instantly put in, but apparently somebody read it and showed up to the house already. I like how his miming literally turns into the objects he's trying to mime. I don't see that much in cartoons.
What's your offer?
For every $1 million donation, you'll receive this sporty tote bag.
For those who don't know, anytime you give to something educational, that's usually the prize you get, a tote bag. Extremely disappointing games seem to do the same thing. So now we're at night and the angles get a little bit more distorted. You have kind of a low angle with a wide angle lens. You have these tilted angles as well. The shadows get a little heavier. It creates good tension without you necessarily knowing it.
Return the slab.
So I'm not gonna lie, I was really let down the first time I saw King Ramses here. I don't think CG mixes very well in a show like this, but the more he kind of stayed on screen, especially the more they kept him at a distance, the more it kind of grew on me, because it's very awkward CG, and awkward CG at the time could be a little creepy. The fact that he doesn't look like anything else in the show, the fact that his mouth does move a little weird, it's kind of like the Rhapsody Street Kids haunting you at night. If you've ever seen the Beetlejuice cartoon, they do something very similar. Whenever there's somebody on TV selling you something, it's this weird CG character, and it's creepy. Again, probably not for the reasons that they were intending. I only know if they meant for it to be creepy, but it's very unsettling.
You will be visited by 3 plagues.
A good way to teach kids the plagues, too, the more I think about it, though I don't know what the music box would fall under in this case. I like this idea, playing off that a lot of basements have drains, but in this case there's literally a plug to the drain, which, why on earth would you need that?
Oh, come on.
See, that's both really funny and still a little creepy. I really love this attic, or at least the color and the lighting of the attic. Again, the shadows are very strong, but the color is also super vibrant. I don't know if they have many scenes in the attic in the show, but I hope they do, because it's a really cool setting. I literally don't know what to say to this. When I saw it, I was very puzzled. Watching it again, I'm still very puzzled. I guess it's just supposed to be bad music, but what specific bad music? I mean, it's not something like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes or Mars Attacks, where it's like, oh yeah, that song, everybody hates that song, but this is just specifically written for this, and I don't think it's necessarily satirizing anything. It's just odd, bad music. I mean, I guess it gets the job done, but it's very strange. Very unique, but very strange. I really like, too, for this supernatural being that can make rain appear and locusts and everything, like this horrifying music. It's just from a record player, like it's not just playing in the air or anything. It's just a record player that can be destroyed with a bat. What was he doing there? Why even show that? I really wish the locust was the first plague. That's one of my only complaints, because we already saw what the locust does to the other. Actually, the more I think about it, no, that's pretty clever, because you know they don't make it out of the locust. So actually, it does make sense to save that. Never mind. I'm not gonna edit that out. I just want to show that I realized I was stupid in that clip. Go me. Jesus, just look at the colors in that room. Go back, pause it, and look at the colors in that room. That's just some gorgeous blues and greens and turquoise. It kind of makes me sad there's like a giant close-up of a GIF outside. Doesn't really match the rest, though. Maybe that's part of the joke.
That's 3 plagues. You're out of ammo, mister.
I think this is very clever, too, because they show, yeah, there's only 3 plagues. He's out. Well, what else could they do? But there is something that was shown that can still be done to him. It's not like an added surprise or anything. It's something you've already seen. So, again, I think that's a clever way to wrap this all up.
your offer?
So there you have something that's a good punchline. It ties into, you know, what King Ramses could do before, disappearing off the slab and reappearing. But it's also kind of a creepy idea. I think there's a lot of famous ghost stories where somebody's trapped in something, whether it's in a doll or an artifact or something even creepier like a coffin or something like that. It's funny because he ends with "what's your offer," but it's also kind of uncomfortable. Are you conscious? Are you not conscious? Can you see things but can't move it? It's just, it's such a creepy idea, but it's also a very funny punchline. So there you go, King Ramses Curse. A lot of Courage fans say that's one of the scariest ones, if not the scariest one. I think it's good. I like Freaky Fred a lot more. Maybe just because I can't get that freaked out by the CG, and it is more of a traditional story of just a ghost wanting something back and going through various lengths to get it. Has his calling line that he repeats over and over in a scary way, which is fine. I just think something like Freaky Fred is a lot more unique, and I like that they do actually very little. All he does is give haircuts, that's it, but they make it terrifying. This is a lot more traditional, but it's done well. The colors are still great, the shadows are great, there's a good build-up to what the monster is and how the monster works. I like these. I like shows that have these, you're constantly coming across ghosts and ghouls and goblins, and very much like that Porky Pig and Sylvester cartoon, there's a very funny element that not only does nobody reward the character that's constantly saving the day, but he's always punished. It's just so mean, and nobody listens to him. So that kind of stuff always makes me laugh. And again, it just opens the door for so much creativity. And this is very creative. It has a nice dark edge to it. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. You probably have, though, and know why it's a lot of fun. Hey everyone, I got a couple of these lined up. If there's any particular cartoon you want me to look at as being very dark or twisted, leave it in the comments below. Again, I'm not really looking for movie scenes or cartoons meant for teenagers or older. I'm talking about ones meant for little kids, but still scare the shit out of you. Whether it's an old cartoon or a new cartoon, let me know what you want me to look at.